I started writing this play between my first and second year of graduate school. I was attending at that point a language intensive to learn Khmer, the Cambodian language, for the very first time. Growing up, my parents did not pressure me to learn my family's language, so I grew up sort of wanting to know it, but not having the skill set to understand it. And so I attended this language intensive as an adult, and then I found the experience to be really unique and challenging and very emotional. And so I started writing about the trials and tribulations of that experience and how utterly human I felt. And that was the first, I guess, germination of that project. And thereafter, I continued to write and formalize the writing. And my last year of graduate school was when I actually performed for the very first time the first iteration of the play as my final thesis project. So the play, Knyum, is about a young Cambodian man who works at the front desk at a hotel. He works the graveyard shift, so he works from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And there, he sort of witnesses his dreams, encounters nightmares, inherited by his family's very traumatic history. His family is from Cambodia. They're immigrants and survivors of the genocide in Cambodia. And so during that time, he's also learning Khmer, the Cambodian language, also anticipating his very first trip to Cambodia, and also he's tasked himself with writing the great Cambodian American opus, which to him is essentially his idea of really trying to figure out how to chronicle his family's history. So between those hours, he has tasked himself with a lot of things, and he is trying to get through his shift, but also trying to understand his parents and trying to understand himself and trying to sort of bridge that gap between generations and cultures. I mean, the character is very much based on myself. I hesitate to say that it is an autobiographical show, but it very much is. It's based on my relationship with my parents. It's based on my own experiences working at the front desk of a hotel, the graveyard shift, at this hotel in New York City. And actually, that's where I wrote a bulk of the piece, because I had all this time. And so I've given myself permission to create some distance between that person, the character of Guy, and myself. But it is very much based on my own experiences, being challenged with this culture and this place that I had never been before, but informed so much of who I am as a person. So I'm really excited that Knyum is premiering in Lowell, Massachusetts at Merrimack Repertory Theater. Oftentimes, the regional theater audience is such that it is subscriber-based and it is primarily middle-class white Americans. And what's so exciting about Sean Daniels, who's the artistic director, is that he has such vision and he wants to try to really invite audiences to see different kinds of stories. And especially in Lowell, Massachusetts, which has the second biggest population of Cambodians in the country, the fact that Sean has sort of said yes to a Cambodian American narrative and put it on the stage and shared this with this audience is so exciting. And you know, we had previews last week, and one of the most exciting things was I could hear the trickling of Cambodian people coming into the audience. And the Cambodian people are incredible. They don't necessarily go to the theater. And so it has been a great joy and excitement of mine to know that we are now opening the doors even wider and saying to Cambodian Americans, please come in and and experience the story from a Cambodian person who is as much their son, as much their brother, as much of their friend as anybody else. So it's really exciting that I am now sharing my Cambodian American story with an audience that I find to be integrating in a way that I've never shared a story before. So it's exciting. Yeah, it's new. It feels really fresh and exciting.
So my name is Sean Daniels, and I'm the artistic director here at Merrimack Repertory Theater. And I'm on the set of Knyum, which is written by Vichet Chum, and he performs in it, and it's directed by KJ Sanchez. When I first got the job here, I knew that Lowell had the second biggest Cambodian community in the country, so I thought, here's an easy programming thing. I'll reach out and I'll get all the great Cambodian playwrights and I'll program them in each season. I found out that that's a little easier to say than it is to do, and as I started, I actually couldn't find any Cambodian playwrights. So I started kind of a national search amongst our associate artists for people to help me find somebody. And after 2 years, I found Vichet Chum, who was working on this piece at the time and actually doing a reading of it in New York. So I went and saw it, and I was very inspired by where he was, and he was very early in his process of putting it together. But I thought it was lyrical, it was gorgeous, he's an amazing performer. And then the election happened. And I woke up the next day after the election and really felt like if you are lucky enough and privileged enough to be in the position where you get to choose what stories are being told, then telling stories about people that look differently than you is the most important thing that we could be doing over the next 4 years. So I wrote to him to say, like, let's do your play. Let's figure out what we have to do. Let's dedicate the resources that it needs to be ready to go in time. And funny enough, he was actually in Cambodia, his first time going back, fretting about the election from the other side of the planet, and then got the email saying that we wanted to do it. So we started working on it over and over again to get ready for this. But one of the things that he really wanted to do, which I think is so smart and so part of what we want to do, is to figure out a way to reach out to the Cambodian community. We haven't done a play by an actual Cambodian in 15 to 18 years, depending on who you ask. So we haven't built up that level of trust in terms of the work that we're doing, in terms of people feeling like the work that we do is for them. So we got a grant from the Lowell Cultural Council to reach out to the Cambodian community. So some of the things that that's allowed us to do is that the posters and the ads that are around town are half in English, half in Khmer. We were able to get, our curtain speech is also half in English, half in Khmer. And we were able to subsidize tickets so that students, high school students and college students that normally perhaps wouldn't have been able to afford, that they can come for the first time and be able to see themselves on stage and see us being dedicated to telling their types of stories in our community. So that grant has helped us a tremendous amount in terms of being able to reach out and do things that we wouldn't have been able to afford to do otherwise. You know, what was amazing was last night was our first preview, and we had like 75% kind of our usual older audience and 25% young Cambodians that had never been in our theater before. And so there's a lot of moments where Vichet talks to the audience in Cambodian, and of course in rehearsal, every time that he's talked to the room, nobody has talked back. And for the first time last night, you know, he said hi in Khmer, and you know, a quarter of the audience responded saying hi. Or he told jokes about like dirty words that he was learning, and a quarter of the audience would laugh before the rest of the audience knew what it was. So it's just really thrilling to see our audience begin to grow and be able to see us really be able to be a community center and a real place that all of Lowell can come to.
You know, I did not know Lowell before I came here. I knew of Lowell just in respects to the fact that it had such a large Cambodian population, but I had never been here before, and it has been one of the most remarkable experiences of my life. I think Lowell has such a unique thing going for it. It's such a diverse community, and it has so many immigrant communities, different communities, period, sort of coexisting with one another in a way that feels very futuristic, I would say. It's something that I hope and aspire for all communities in America. In terms of people coming to the show and responding to what I'm sharing, it has been so generous and kind, and people are really receiving this story. From both people who are Cambodian and non-Cambodians. I've gotten emails from Cambodian people who shared with me, I've never seen a Cambodian on stage before. I've never seen a Cambodian writer, actor who is sharing our story. And to me, that alone is extraordinary. And then people who are non-Cambodian, I think that they're just excited about seeing a diversity of stories and a story that also does reflect their community. And they've been so generous to me, and it's sort of what you wish for all theater communities to be like.